feel, cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, cause I know that it's something real.
Well, hi everybody. Oh my goodness, my camera. So can you tell Bob is gone again? Okay, I knew I forgot something. It's Friday, so we need this. Yay! There we go, back to me. I had to get my Friday in. Oh my goodness. Yep. Things are a little twisted on my camera. If I'm out of focus, I apologize, but as long as you can hear me, that's good. Whoa, what a day. What a day. I am kind of, I actually tried to think about taking a nap this afternoon, and I knew that that was not a good idea because I would just zone right out and I couldn't anyway. So instead, I made myself a cup of coffee. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yes. So let's get everybody. Hi. It's so good to see you. I've been watching I watched the Massey Boys, and I watched Brian, and then I watched Nate just now, and I was watching some other, I found another couple of channels on some different kind of art, and I found an idea that I'm going to spend some time with over the weekend, and it gave me a new art lessons to bring to you next week. Yay, I'm excited. Yeah, I was out of the house by 7 o'clock this morning. I didn't get back till like 12:30 or 12:45. Bob had already left to go hang out with his buddies up in Edmonds, and he just sent me a message that said that I believe he's still up there. Yes, because he's waiting around to come home because it's over a 2-hour drive home right now, but nothing compared to the ferry wait, because the ferries, which we use in Washington, up in the Northwest here in Puget Sound area, we use ferries like for commuting. And everybody has, they live on the islands or they live over on the peninsula. People always take the ferries because the freeways are brutal. I mean, we have the second or third worst traffic in the nation. Yeah. So it can be absolutely brutal. So, but the ferry system right now is having problems with getting people into shifts with the restrictions. And so they also have some crazy restrictions. Even though it's a very well-paying job, it's very difficult to get to be a ferry worker. And then once you do, my understanding is that the restrictions are such that if you're hired, you can be assigned to any ferry in the system to work that day. So that means that if you live in Seattle or in South Seattle or Tacoma here, down down toward me, you might not get to go on the ferry that goes to Vashon or the one that goes from Bremerton over to Seattle, which would be, you know, half an hour, 40-minute drive to get to where it is. You might be assigned to Anacortes, which is easily a 3-hour drive to get to work. Oh, you know, so it's a crazy thing. So anyway, the results are that they're reduced the number of boats. So instead of like the Edmonds ferry boat that Bob was going to take to get across the Sound rather than drive through Seattle, instead of having 2 runs an hour, is only running once an hour. And it's a commuter, so that means some people are waiting to get home for a couple hours waiting in the ferry line. Yeah, it's fun. So he's hanging out with his buddies longer and up in Edmonds, and then he'll drive home a little later on tonight when there's not so much traffic. Yes, and that will be fine. But I have something to share with you guys. So after we did our drawing last night, just as I hit the end broadcast, I saw a little something come across my desk. And now from Deirdre. There it is. There's her cat. I had to share. I think everybody did such a fun thing. Oh my gosh. I'm excited for this new idea that I have because I've never done it. So I'm going to have to do it myself. I watched a video today on something, and it'll take us over a couple of nights because I'll give you an assignment the first night. An assignment. I can't get away from the teacher. Too bad. Your storyteller is a teacher. Anyway, just some things, and then the next night I'll go over the whole thing and we'll do some more of it. I'm excited because it has a lot of interesting parts to it. So, Gloria, would you do me a favor first off, so I don't forget? Your live is, I believe, hang on, let me go back to me, and I have it in my calendar, on Sunday, Gloria, at 4:30, is that right? Tell me if I'm wrong. That's what I have on my calendar, but I also my calendar is been my problem today because it's been flipping things to previously scheduled time. It's like my physical therapy was at 10:15. My calendar had it at 10:30 because I had it at 10:30 once. Oh well, I still managed. So yes, so Gloria's gotten her tea. Helen's here. Yay. Angie's here. Janice, yay. Oh, and Julie. I see, Julie, you told me you saw the sunset. Did you guys? I mean, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, my shorts, if I can find it. Your channel. Manage videos. Where's the shorts? Sunset explosion. There we go. Okay, hang on. Pause.
Oh my gosh.
Pause. Okay, I'll go back to this because not all of you got to see this. So I was in the middle of watching Brian and looked out the window and had to go do a quick short on this because, yeah.
Sun is setting. Look at that.
It had this crazy aura over the top of it, and it was just going right over.
Look at the reflection, but look at that.
And I'm so excited. I'm jiggling all over the place. I need to use my gimbal.
Oh
I have one, but do I use it?
Is setting.
No, use the tools. The photographer should use the tools.
Oh.
Yes.
Look at over the bay. Look at the reflection, but look at that.
Anyway, so cool. Oh, stop. There we go. It was one of those because it was really gray, and then there was just this one kind of band of break in the clouds right above the hills and above the Olympic Mountains that you could see kind of out there, and then there was this solid bank of gray clouds. And I happened to look up and see that the sun was just beep, getting ready to go. Crap to my phone. It's crazy. Yes, so Julie's saying hi. Dee's here. Deirdre's here. Showed your picture. Janice, there, everybody's got, yay. I saw somebody else was here. I think it is down here. Deirdre, Angie, Donna, that's what it was. Happy Donna, when I saw her, happy TGIF, that's what made me remember the Friday. Yes. So, welcome. And Nathan, I'm glad you're lurking in the background. I'm sorry you're feeling so bad. We're all sending you good healing hugs and good vibe. And yeah. So tonight's story, you guys, I hope is one, I think it will make you feel pretty good in some ways. In some ways, it's got a little bit of sadness to it based on later on. But in the beginning, it's kind of one of those challenging things, but that somebody stands up for it. And it's a little piece of our history that's not well known. And oftentimes in kids' books, those little pieces of history are highlighted by the authors and illustrators. And this book was written by Rose Blue and Corinne J. Naden and illustrated by Dan Tate. It came out in, I think, 2009. I'm trying to turn off my heater because it's just making me crazy. There we go. And it was, it came out and we featured it in Black History Month, but it was a little bit of a story. Although you're fine, don't be whimpering. He's not here. No, Aldo is whimpering at the door, sorry. And it was a story that I was not aware of, which as a librarian, you would think I would know this little bit of history, but I didn't. But I digress. So let me tell you a little bit about, I'll tell you first off, I'm going to read the story. And then we'll go back into the author and the illustrator and about what they've done and about who the story is about. Another thing about children's literature that we haven't really separated is there's the storytelling, simple storytelling stories. Kind of like last night, Louise Loves Art and those type of things. Some of the books that we read that are simply stories. Then there's the books that are almost documentary type books, documentary storytelling, which is a really interesting way of communicating parts of our history. When I was a little girl, and I was, like I said, chapter book reader from the time I was 5, and I got to school, I didn't start till first grade, and they wanted to move me to second grade halfway through first grade, and they gave my mom a stack of books for me to read over Christmas vacation in order to, quote unquote, increase my vocabulary. And they said, well, you have to have her read these at least 6 books a day, and da-da-da-da-da. And by about the 3rd day of Christmas vacation, my mom said I was digging my heels in, and from going from a little girl who had a reading corner and a reading spot in her tree to somebody who didn't want to touch the book, she said, well, I'm not going to do this. And in some ways it was really good. In other ways it was not so great because later on it was just, but we dealt with it. And the way Mom helped me deal with it and helped was the school librarian had this rule that first graders could only check out the picture books. But my mom said, and that's back, picture books then were Make Way for Ducklings, Blueberry for Sal, some of the Dr. Seuss. My mom said she knows all those. She's seen them, she's read them, what else can we do? What can we've got? And so the librarian introduced me to the biography section, 921. And if you remember the old, they were an orange book with black silhouette drawings on the inside, or black silhouettes, and they were of famous Americans as children, and then how they grew up and what they contributed. And so I started at the very beginning, I think like with Louisa May Alcott, and went all the way through the guy's last name Z, who invented the printing press. I mean, in every one of those in between. And I read every single one of them that I could get my hands on multiple times. I have some in the kids' room. And they created a real sense of understand of history for me. And I really started to love some things about history, not only just American history, but worldwide. And that's kind of sparked an interest. These same kind of picture books that are those documentary type picture books can sometimes spark that kind of interest in kids, or an understanding of something that happened that they weren't aware of and that might make them see life a little differently. And so tonight's book, we're all a little twisted. Yes! I love that. Oh my gosh. And so I love being a little twisted. Yes, what Julie said. So the book tonight is called, oops, I've got my camera all askew. I knew there was something I forgot to do. That doesn't belong there. It's right here. Here we go, the book. Let's see if I can get this camera in the right spot. You see, there's a lot of stuff on my desk, guys. Now behave. There, I got it to behave. It's called Ron's Big Mission. And it is based, in fact, on a true story. And verified by the people who were involved, verified by the young man who the story is about. And it's a real interesting, we think, we kind of take it for granted about libraries these days, and about what a free library is, and that libraries have access. It's always been a free library where you had access to anything. Well, they haven't always been that way, but since it was established as a free library, everybody was supposed to have access to some degree in some places. And that's a little bit about what this story is about. And a little boy who took a stand and learned the importance of taking a stand and going for what he wanted. Ron's Big Mission. Okay, let me check my sound. I'm hoping everybody can hear me well. Pretty good. Up a little bit there. And Ron's Big Mission by Rose Blue and Corinne J. Naden. Illustrated by Dan Tate. Let me get a little more light on the book here. There we go. Hey, don't twist. There we go. Got it. You're up early this morning, Ron. What's the rush? Asked Mrs. McNair. Come and have your breakfast. I made some oatmeal. I have to go, Mama, said Ron, tying his sneakers. I have something to do this morning. You always have something to do, said his mother with a smile. Just be home by lunchtime, okay? Ron was 9 years old. That morning he left his house with a plan. He'd been thinking about it for a long time. It was a beautiful South Carolina summer day, and Ron looked up at the blue, blue sky. Someday, he thought, he would be up there, flying a plane. He wanted to be a pilot when he grew up. But today, Ron had something else on his mind. Something very important. Ron walked down the street as fast as he could. He didn't want to be late. "Hi, Ron," the grocer called from the front of his store. "There you are, just in time for a donut." "Morning, Mr. Douglas," said Ron. "Thank you, but there's someplace I've got to be." And Ron kept on walking. Down by the schoolyard, Ron saw his friend Carl shooting baskets. "All right, you made it," called Carl. "Hi, Carl," said Ron. "I wish I could stay, but I got something important to do." "More important than basketball and summer vacation?" said Carl. "Are you kidding?" Ron laughed. He loved to play basketball, but not today. Today was too important. Ron kept on walking. When Ron got to the Lake City Public Library, he stopped. This was it. He was hot from walking so fast, and he was nervous too. He took a deep breath, lifted his head high, and went inside. Mrs. Scott was busy getting ready for all the people who would be using the library today. As the head librarian, she had to make sure that everything was neat and orderly. Mrs. Scott looked up to welcome her first visitor of the day. She smiled as Ron walked in. He was her best customer. Ron gave a little wave to Mrs. Scott and went right to the shelves. It took Ron a while to find some books. He always looked for books that showed children who looked like him. But that was hard. There were not many books about black kids on the shelves. At last, Ron found some books on airplanes. He took the books and started to walk to the front desk. Ron felt nervous and his hands felt a little sweaty, but he knew what he wanted to do. Mrs. Fielding, a white lady who was often at the library, stopped him. "You can give me the books and I'll check them out for you, Ron," she said gently. "No thanks, Mrs. Fielding," said Ron. "I'm going to do it all by myself." "But Ron," she started to say. Ron was already on his way to the front desk. He put his books on the counter. "I'd like to check these out, please," said Ron. The desk clerk didn't look at him. Didn't she hear him? Ron wondered. Ron knew what he had to do. He jumped up on the counter. He wanted the desk clerk to know that he was serious. "I'd like to check out these books," he said quietly. At first, the desk clerk and Mrs. Scott just looked at each other. "You know you can't check out books, Ron," said Mrs. Scott. "You can read them here. That's the rule. Only white people can check out books from the library." Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk politely, but he would not budge. "I always read them here. Today, I want to check them out," said Ron. Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk did not know what to do. Ron wouldn't get off the counter. People started staring. Finally, the desk clerk called the Lake City Police. 2 policemen came right over. "Let someone check those books out for you, son," said one of the policemen. "You know the rules." But Ron just shook his head. He would not budge. Now Mrs. Scott called Ron's mother. Mrs. McNair came to the library very quickly. "I know how you feel, baby," she said, "but you have to follow the rules." "I can't, Mama," Ron told her. "It's wrong. The rules are not fair. Why can't I check out books like everyone else? No one said anything. Not the desk clerk, not Mrs. Scott, not the policeman, not even Ron's mother. Mrs. Scott looked at Ron. She thought about all the times that Ron came into the library and all the times he sat at the tables for hours looking over so many books. He was her best customer, and she knew what she had to do. Mrs. Scott walked back into her office and started writing. Ron wondered what she was doing. Mrs. Scott returned and handed Ron a library card. His library card. Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and smiled. As he jumped to the floor, he thought he saw her smile too. "I'd like to check these books out, please," he said, handing the card to the desk clerk. And the desk clerk took his library card and stamped the cards in the back of the books. "These are due back in 2 weeks," she said. Ron smiled. "Thank you," he said, and he tucked the books under his arm and took his mother's hand. Together, they walked home. Ron couldn't wait to get to his room and open to page 1. And that's the story of Ron's big mission. Yeah. But that's not the end of the story of Ron. Some people might have recognized the name of Ron McNair. Let me tell you a little bit more if you didn't. I'm going to expand this. The boy who was Ron McNair grew into a man who flew planes just like he dreamed he would do. He became an astronaut. Today, everyone in Lake City remembers him. They remember him every time they walk into the library. The red brick building on 234 Main Street is a special place. The walls in the children's room were painted with pictures that show children reading books under a huge oak tree. A space shuttle flies through the sky. Inside the library, anyone can get a card and check out books. Young Ron McNair had a dream. On that day in 1959, he made it start to come true. Because of him, many young people have had a chance to dream. You can only be a winner if you're willing to walk over the edge, astronaut McNair once told a group of children. You're eagles. Spread your wings and fly to the sky. Many years ago in Lake City, South Carolina, young Ron McNair became a hero. Years later, in 1986, astronaut Ron McNair was once a hero again. He lost his life when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on January 28th. With the loss of the entire crew, the Lake City Public Library is dedicated to astronaut McNair. This story is a fictionalized account of a real incident in Ron McNair's life. There are several versions of this story. This version comes from interviews with Ron's mother, the late Mrs. McNair, and Gloria Wilson, administrative assistant to the director of library systems in Florence County, South Carolina, and Gloria Tisdale of the Lake City School District. We thank them for their help in reconstructing this inspirational story. Except for Mrs. McNair and Ron, all of the character names are fictional. But it's still, in that storytelling documentary ways, it has such an impact. I can still barely make it through this book. So let's see what you guys say. I have to take very commute that way on a daily basis. I don't own windy days. Okay, yeah, back on the ferries. I'm scooting down here in the, I didn't get all the way to the bottom. You guys are chatting up a storm. Bars on the ferries. Some of them do. So one of the things about this book, I mean, the Challenger, yeah, has always been a, we often hear about the teacher who was on the Challenger, and we know that I was actually had a television in my room. My classroom of first grade teachers, first graders were just coming in off the bus. They were coming in, and I had it up on the television to watch it live with them, and it was all going, and I watched it explode. So I was trying to deal with 28 first graders walking into my classroom and that happening, and trying to turn, because they had all heard and they wanted to watch this big, it was nationwide that the first teacher was going up in space and all of this kind of stuff in the space shuttle. Whoa, yeah. And so that oftentimes, that was a significant event. So it wasn't until many years later that I learned about Ron McNair. And this book really helped to bring that story and do more to bring that kind of story to life. So it's a favorite of mine to have read. We always read during Black History Month, and which is what February is. What's this? Okay, so checking in. It's not, oh, her cat. My OCD kicked in. It's not perfect. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that is 4:30 p.m. my time. I had it right. Good job. Great. Okay, so scooting down here, we've got that. Sunset was beautiful. Yes. Here we go down. Yes, there was an Indian astronaut on that flight. There was times that you stop in your tracks like, oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. There was the number of people you were subbing that day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was it happened fortunately it happened just before the kids all the buses and were coming. So I was watching it and was going to show the replay to the kids. But boom, it's one of those things that happened, and you have to figure out how to still, you've got 28 six-year-olds walking into the room. You need to prioritize them, even no matter what is going on. But it was Sally, that's right. And oh, Joanne's painting, yay! I always like to hear that. So yes, he was friends with Neil deGrasse. That's right, he was. It's just it's one of these type of things that for the kids in the school, and as he said in the book, he couldn't find very many books with kids in them that look like him. And when you teach in a school that has a fairly wide variety of mix that I did, although still was majority white, you still had to come with that balance. And it was books like this that would give kids a different direction to take in when they needed to do reports. They could think of somebody different. And it was also a great way for me as a teacher to find a different direction and a different point of view. And even though it is a fictionalized story of a true event, like any of those things that you hear about, there's always a little bit of embellishment and stuff, but there's a thread that runs through it of what is real. And yes, and the smile and the look and the way the illustrations were done, you know, the focus on, let me go back to here. So you look at the focus, how much larger the heads are than, you know, what he's thinking. What's he looking about? What's he want to know? And to give up a donut, you know, I just love the style of illustration that this particular illustrator did, who was this guy. Let's go take a look at this guy. Oop. Whoa. Why is it being so big? Nope. That's not what we're doing. Maybe, can I get it to, why is it? Unlock. Why is it so big? I don't know why it's so big. Oh, maybe? Nope. I lost something here. Not that. Oh, I got the wrong. It's supposed to be the iPad. Is it not plugged in? We'll take the iPhone out. There we go. Well, why isn't my iPad showing up? Okay, hang on, guys. Just a second. Bump and bump. There we go. Maybe that will work. There we go. Okay, got it now. Sorry about that. This is all about learning. For some reason, when I had both my phone plugged in and there, I can put myself over here. And there. So I had my phone and my iPad plugged in so you could see that. It made it go kind of wonky. All right, so here he is, Dan Tate. He was author and illustrator. Author of numerous award-winning picture books and biographies, illustrator of more than 80 critically acclaimed trade and educational books for youth. Whoa, 80 books. Carter reads the newspaper. He did several books about different presidents and different people, and super soaking stream of inventions, posts the remarkable story of George Moses Horton, Peachtree. It just happened when Bill Taylor started to draw. Ezra Jack Keats Book Award and honor winners, and Strong as Sandow, how Eugene Sandow became the strongest man on earth. So his books are really pretty amazing. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Pigskins to paintbrushes. Story of football playing artist Ernie Barnes, slam dunking alley-ooping high-flying Harlem Globetrotters. Carter reads the newspaper. Razzie Dazzy Spasm Band, No Small Potatoes, Partay, Partay. Strong as Sandow. So his style has a real distinct aspect to it. And a lot of them are historical ones. Oh, story of George Moses Horton. Oh, nice. Duke Ellington's Nutcracker Suite. Oh, this one would be good. It just happened when Bill Taylor started to draw. And she loved baseball. The Effa Manley story. And so it goes on and on and on. He's done so many. It was such amazing. Now, the other person is the illustrator. Let me see if I can get back to where I was. And that's or was the author. So I couldn't find as much about these two, Rose Blue. But she did the Colin Powell's Straight to the Top Gateway biographies. Barbara Bush. She did a book on Barbara Bush. So she did a lot of children's children's biographies, and that one was in 91, this one was in 91, and I was looking back on some other stuff about her, and I went to here, was it her biography? She was born in 1931, and it got to the point where when I was looking through this to show you guys, it went on and on besides the ads, but each time you see one of these, how many blocks is the world italicized, that's another book. And if I go through this, those are the ones that she did. Keeps going, and it keeps going. And then Sandy's World Series, First Day of School Blues, these teleplays. She did juvenile nonfiction. These are done with Corinne J. Naden. The U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. military, she's done some. Working Together Against Hate Groups, Black Sea, Andes Mountains, Picture Book of the Jewish Year, Staying Out of Trouble with a Troubled Family, You're the Boss. I mean, and they go on and on and on. She has some books about different states, juvenile biographies, Diane Sawyer, Judith Resnick, Krista McAuliffe, Barbara Bush, goes on, Colin Powell, Barbara Jordan, John Muir. Oh my gosh. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I was blown away looking at this woman's body of work. Goodness gracious. These battles of 1861 to 1862. I would just love to read a bunch of her things because the historical edge that she takes to all these looks like it could be just amazing. So if you ever bored and you need to go get on your get your library card out, or go on to your local library and you could put her name in and probably reserve and have a whole bunch of books brought in. I think I might be doing that for a few books to read, to take with me when we go on our road trip at the end of May. Those would be some I would really, really enjoy reading about that. I think, yeah, Breakers, yes. I do too. The donut guy reminds me of Humpty Dumpty. I have a book to read to you guys called After the Fall, and it's about Humpty Dumpty. It's far less serious than this one. It's pretty funny though. Yeah. Going home and watching it, yes. Small child, even in elementary school, I remember there was racism all around me. I remember thinking that it's so unfair. So why are all the adults acting like it's no big deal? Yeah. Yes. That's it's always an interest. It's exactly unfair, unable to understand why as little kids it doesn't make a difference. You could put a bunch of toddlers together in a room and nobody would care about that. It's just like don't take my toy type thing. But no, they'll play and they'll be happy and they'll be smiling. It doesn't really matter. So somewhere along the line, those type of thoughts and ideas are put upon kids or people from someone else. So no child is born with hate in them. Exactly. Absolutely. That is a good quote. And yeah, excellent. Pure mind and a, yep. So that was the book that I wanted to share tonight because it was just about him. It's a combination of dreaming and soaring and libraries that make a difference and books that make a difference and someone that made a difference that librarian chose to give him a library card when he hadn't been able to. And just, it's those one small steps. We saw that in Each Kindness, the echo of ripples. It's another example of the echo of ripples, of what happens down the road and what we do and what we think. And he was determined, and you know, to have to meet, to do something that would help him along the way, that he wanted to make sure that a fairness was fixed, that was made, something, a wrong was fixed. And you know, that is as big of an achievement in my mind as being an astronaut. That was his dream, to be an astronaut, to be a pilot. That was something big. But this little part that he did, whew, yeah, that affected on a whole nother level, I think. Anyway, yes, another great book. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. So that's the story for tonight. Ron's Big Mission. It was a great one. I had a hard time remembering the name of this. I knew the context of the story, but it had been since 2009. I mean, and I knew where it was in my library. So I kind of knew to go, okay, it would be on this shelf and kind of thing. So I went to my library here, and the librarians, I love it. You had 3 of us standing, 2, and me, the retired one, and 2 of the ones working there. And I said, okay, the book is about this size, but this big, and it's got a little boy looking up in the sky, and there's a part about the library. He goes to the library and to get a library card because they won't let him have one. And she goes, oh, yes. And so she gets on things, throws in her keywords and goes, is it Ron's Big Mission? And I'm like, yes, because I had another book about, it's called The Librarian Who Changed the World. There's another book out there, but that was a chapter book, I think. And that wasn't that one. So we had a good time. Librarians geeking out. It's a party when the librarians geek out. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I'm excited that you guys enjoyed this one. And dream big. Do something that makes a difference. We all do. But when you dream big and you can make a difference and you do something little, you might not think it's a big deal, but even those little things might make a big difference for somebody else. So that's what we're just going to keep doing. We're just going to keep doing wonderful little things and also making our big dreams. And for all of us here, you guys are the best. I thank you so much each and every time for bringing me into your home, with me keeping it real to you. And what was this night tonight? I think it's like 93. Yes. And until the next time, tomorrow, take care. Make some art. I'm not drawing tonight, so get your sketchbooks out, do some stuff. Tomorrow night, I might have you draw, maybe not, but Sunday night for sure, I think I'm going to draw. It's going to take me a couple nights to get this new activity down. Ooh, I'm excited about it. And it'll be good because is like a follow-up to what Gloria's live will be on Sunday. A little bit of she's doing wonderful readings, I believe. And this is kind of from what I've read about it and looked at so far and learned about it so far, it has a little bit of connection. Right now, the connection's a little bit far apart. I'm going to try to bring it a little closer together. We'll see. So you guys, take care. Make some beautiful art. Believe in yourself. You're all wonderful, amazing, and I thank you so much for being here. Nathan, get better. Glad you just hung out lurking. It's always good. Angie, it was good to have you here. Gloria, Helen, Janice, Julie E, Deirdre. Let's see, Gloria. I got Julie E. Making sure I didn't miss anybody. Julie E, Helen, Angie, Gloria, Janice, Nathan, and Deirdre. There it is. There's my 7, you guys. This magnificent 7. That's what you guys are. Magnificent 7. All right. Until next time. First off, we'll do Friday again, and then we'll dance this party out. So everybody, take care. Look for the beauty hidden in plain sight. Check your mirror, and I'll see you soon.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Ooh, feel alright. We won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard.
Oh, Joanne!
They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards.
I miss Joanne. Joanne was here too. Yes, she was painting in the background. Oh my gosh. Yes.
We could be shameless, famous.
Oh, Donna was here too. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous. Wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. You blow my mind, looking like a model, better than the usual. Yeah, you don't even try, not average or typical. I'll put you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard. They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards. I just need you by my side. We could